So let's get started. I'm going to start with these guys that are likely top 15 picks. And by the way, I purposely didn't take consensus top 10 picks. I've covered Caleb Williams. It's obvious. I think he's going to be really good. I've covered Drake May. Same thing. I've covered Jaden Daniels. I've covered JJ McCarthy. I think that those are consensus top 10 picks. I stayed away from those types of guys, the Marvin Harrison Jr.'s. These are guys that aren't consensus right at the top of the draft. But three of them that I think most people would consider them top 15 picks or maybe 20 picks. Okay, so let me start with number one. My first plant the flag player is Brock Bowers, the tight end from Georgia. Now, if you listened, and a lot of you did or watched the top 5 pass catchers episode of the Joel Klatt Show. First, if you haven't, go back and check it out because I give a lot of thoughts about the tight end position in general and owning and operating in the middle of the field and what that does for an offense and more specifically a quarterback. I think that it makes life for a quarterback so much easier because of the matchups that you start to generate through first personnel groups, then formations, and then just specific individual matchups. Now, Bowers has been elite since he stepped foot on campus in Athens. He has been elite since he was a true freshman 3 years ago. This guy, every time I got to watch him play, I was more impressed with his athleticism, his ability to catch the football, his, by all accounts, his work ethic is off the charts. Last year, there was a lot of depth at the tight end position in the draft. And so I suggested going into the draft that, hey, you could probably wait around and get a guy like Sam Laporta from Iowa. And guess what? That rang true because that's what Detroit did. They got a guy that they could rely on. And then he was excellent his rookie year for the Lions. This is a little bit different than that because Bowers is, I think, a better top-end prospect than Sam Laporta, which means you got to go get him. He's more of a crown jewel than he is a guy that you can just wait in the wings and get him somewhere in the middle of the second round. That's obvious. That can't happen with Brock Bowers because of his elite playmaking ability. He opens up the field. Like I said, what he can do for you from a personnel group standpoint, flexing out, creating matchup issues, and then just his athletic ability. I continue to marvel at this play. I talked about it in the top 5 pass catchers episode. The play against Ohio State a couple of years ago in the, I believe that was it the Sugar Bowl or the Peach Bowl? Regardless, it was the semifinal against Ohio State. And I believe it's 4th down and he's getting tackled along the boundary and reaches. He makes an incredible athletic move and reaches for a first down. I don't think Georgia wins without that first down. At some point, your Jimmies have got to be better than their Joes. And guess what? As a Jimmy, Brock Bowers is better than a lot of Joes out there. He's just an elite player, and I believe that he's going to have a lot of success in the National Football League. All right, number 2. Also, a lot of people believe that it's going to be a top 15 pick. But here's a guy that I kind of planted a flag on even before the college football season. If you've been listening since then, you will remember that before the college football season, I said Washington was my dark horse pick overall, and Michael Penix was a big reason why my dark horse Heisman candidate and a guy that I just thought a lot of even before the season. And then he went on to have what I can only categorize as an exceptional season in college football. And what he did leading Washington to the point that they're playing for a national championship against Michigan. What I love about Michael Penix, though, is that there's nothing that I have to imagine with him, right? There's no projection into the NFL because I got to see exactly what he's going to be required to do at the next level when he was at Washington. Control the game from the pocket. Pass the football, I didn't say throw, pass the football down the field. And he did it with ease. This is a guy that controls the pocket controls the game, I should say, from the pocket, I think better than any of the quarterbacks in this draft, maybe even better than Caleb Williams. And you know exactly how I feel about Caleb Williams. But his ability to sit there in a full field read and attack the deep zones, seams, and areas of the field with accuracy and leverage is uncanny. His timing is terrific. His ability to throw the ball with proper leverage so that he's increasing the odds of a catch for his man over the defender is exquisite. I love Michael Penix. I was able to cover him when he was at Indiana. I think the only reason that there's some questions about him, it might be his age, but it's more specifically his injuries. He was very injury prone until the last couple of years. But remember now, you've got to step away from that and take a more 30,000-foot view and sit and think to yourself, okay, he has stood in the pocket 2 straight years on a team that was completely reliant on him throwing the football, and he's made every start in those 2 years and just led them to the national championship game. Right? So at some point, you've got to say to yourself, he's over the injury concerns. Love his game. Love his game. And as you know, I talk a lot about that leverage passing down the field. It's basically like he's counting cards. He's putting the odds in his wide receivers' favor every time he throws it down the field. So that's another top 15 pick, and he is a Joel Klatt Show flag man. Bowers, Penix, and now number 3. Another guy that I think probably goes in the top 15, and that's Olu Fashanu, the offensive tackle from Penn State. Olu Fashanu was really good, and in some cases dominant last year at tackle. And he's just scratching the surface. That's my favorite part about him, is that he has still got so much room for growth, and yet he was fantastic last year. Pass blocking, run blocking, his base, his athleticism. He is exactly what they're looking for. He's 6'6", 312 pounds. He's athletic. The guy does everything well, and he's only going to get better. It's not going to shock me at all if we look up in 4 or 5 years and Olu Fashanu is the highest paid tackle in football, and he's one of the more dominant players in the National Football League at the line of scrimmage. That won't shock me at all. Again, he does everything well. It's very rare in the college game. Normally, we've got guys that are very good run blockers or very good pass protectors. It's very rare when we have both. Then it's even more rare when that player who I would say at least has both attributes also has room to grow. You see, normally we think of potential as this untapped thing where you've got to grow and be taught in one area, pass protection or run blocking, and yet he's good at both, still has room to go. Man, I tell you, hasn't played a ton of football in his life, and that's why he's got so much potential. So I love Olu Fashanu. That is a guy that I just know deep down in my heart, 4 or 5 years from now, we're going to be looking back and we're going to be like, that guy is an incredible pro. Thank you for watching the Joel Klatt Show YouTube channel. And if you liked this clip, make sure to like it and subscribe to the channel, and you can stay up to date on all of my college football coverage.